What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about some games that I don't think are going to appear at Gamescom 2024. So hopefully this video went up after the video where I kind of just rambled. We went over some games that a lot of which are releasing in this fall, right? Games that I think are going to be at Gamescom or have a shot or at least make sense, right? Kind of fits any of those criteria. So, okay, let's do the reverse of it, right? Games that don't make sense, games that we don't really need to see at Gamescom. We'll kind of start there just because I can kind of ramble and just like list these off. I kind of started that in the last video where it's like, games I don't care to see are not even necessarily games I'm not into. It's, there's some games that we've seen quite a bit of so far, or also games that just, I guess, don't make sense in my head to appear at Gamescom. So like, I know I mentioned there, so let's mention it here. Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is like game of the year type contender for me. I cannot freaking wait for it, right? Even Metaphor, which comes out the exact same day, right? These are great looking games. I can't freaking wait. They're in like my top 3, top 5 most anticipated for the fall. We've seen enough. I mean, even at the time I'm recording this, like we're getting a Dragon Ball trailer, I think tomorrow or the next day. I mean, we've gotten like 30 Dragon Ball trailers. They're all incredible, but it's like I don't really need to see any more. Now, actually, I don't remember. Like, I think Dragon Ball might actually be showing up at Gamescom. Fine, that's cool. At least even for people to play it right on the show floor. It's just I don't really think we need to see it. We've seen enough of that game. We've seen enough of Metaphor. I know I mentioned Assassin's Creed Shadows. I don't think that one makes a ton of sense either. I mean, I guess because it is a big fall game, right? Again, although I just don't know if we would need to see it at Gamescom. Maybe they would do their own thing kind of separate. I guess the ones that I think of, right, kind of on the top of my head of like what not to expect or, we're just not going to see is really 2025. And I think Summer Game Fest kind of put this in perspective, right? Where it's like, we've had a tough year. It's been a tough, really even more than I would say just 2024. Like you could go back into 2023 at times. And, it's been shown even in these announcements. Jeff Keighley talked about it leading into Summer Game Fest where it's like, hey, you're noticing layoffs, you're noticing all this stuff. It's affecting announcements too. Like it affects even that back end stuff. So I think to kind of keep it contained makes a lot of sense. And I think you saw that largely in Summer Game Fest where, there was a lot of smaller games you didn't really see coming, like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game, right? And for a Gamescom, I really think they're going to focus on the fall. And you eventually do need to get into the springtime, or like January, February, March, you got like Avowed and whatnot. But you really got to start to fill that up. I don't really think that happens here, though. So, like an easy cop-out, to my answer for this video, a lot of 2025 games. I mentioned, like, the Judases of the world and GTA 6. Like, whenever there's a show, especially nowadays, there's going to be talk of GTA 6. I think people are generally, like, wise enough to know, like, it probably doesn't make sense. I guess you can never say never. But at the same time, I would be shocked if GTA 6 actually appeared at this event. Doesn't feel like it. They would just kind of do their own thing. And if they were to pick a show, which I don't even think they were going to pick a show, to be honest with you, but if they were to, I think Game Awards actually is the one that makes the most sense for it to appear at. And I don't even think that's going to happen, right? But really, any of those 2025 games, like a Doom the Dark Ages for like a Fable. Like I know Xbox is supposed to have a bigger, show or bigger appearance or presence, right, at Gamescom. I mean, like, do you focus more on, like, the Stalkers and the Indiana Jones and Avowed, and you kind of cut it there, right? So, like, anything that comes after, so Fable, Doom, Gears of War, like, Gears of War sounds closer than we think it is, but, like, I don't think that makes sense, you know what I mean? So, to kind of keep things in perspective or my own expectations, I'm kind of drawing a line where it's like Xbox has a couple big exclusives, but I think they're eventually going to draw a line and say, okay, nothing after that. We're not going to show, and we're not going to really do huge deep dives onto things after that. And even like kind of off the grid type things, like Expedition 33 that was shown off at the Xbox show, but that's just a JRPG for all consoles, right? That's a 2025 game. Highly doubt it. When I think of PlayStation, I think, okay, you got your showcase to do, and Astrobot's coming out in just a few weeks. You really only have Death Stranding, and then anything else would be brand new. Again, I kind of draw the line. I mean, you can never count out Hideo Kojima and Jeff Keighley, right? So, like, there is an okay shot that Death Stranding 2 would be there. I don't think it will be, mainly because Tokyo Game Show is at the end of September. PlayStation is going, Hideo Kojima is going. And I think, draw the line, right? Connect it. And I think that's why, that's all happening. So, could he double dip? And could you see Death Stranding at Gamescom? And then again, 1 month later, literally almost to the day, actually. I guess it's possible, but ultimately, again, I don't think so. PlayStation's the biggest wild card because it's like you really can only show Lego Horizon and Astrobot, and then after that, you can get into Death Stranding. You could do like a Wolverine thing, you could do, but I don't think they're gonna do any of that. So so I would just draw again the line similar to Xbox, but even like closer, too close actually, for PlayStation. Nintendo is always picky with these things as well, and to be honest with you, they got the Zelda game, I believe, coming out, right? But beyond that, you got the Switch 2, you got probably like a 50-game lineup, coming for that one. You're not going to talk about that one at Gamescom. And then when you start getting into like 2026, 2027, I mean, you could go into like the EAs of the world for like, if you're not doing Dragon Age, you're not going to do Mass Effect. We can also probably discard like our wildest hopes of like, some of my go-tos for these shows is like Persona. No way, right? Kingdom Hearts, no way. Again, I guess there's always a chance, but Gamescom can be big, and Gamescom has been big actually in the past. In fact, Gamescom has been bigger in terms of like, I guess, quality of announcements, at least to my eyes, right? My critiques. It's been bigger than Summer Game Fest before. That has happened, and this was a weak Summer Game Fest. This was one of his weakest in all of the years he's done it. So like, is it that hard to beat it? No. And could it be beaten? Yeah, it actually really could, right? But I just think so many of these games are probably past the cutoff point, right? Like, again, I draw this imaginary line for Xbox. I draw it for PlayStation. I also draw it in the year. You know what I mean? Like, any game that comes out after, like, spring of 25, I feel like is disqualified to me. And that's just me. You might get one or two of them. You really could. You know what I mean? It's definitely possible. I'm just thinking in terms of my own expectations, my own predictions. I just don't think those kind of games will appear here. I think they make more sense for the Game Awards. I think it just shows, again, the kind of year that we're in, that companies maybe are holding things closer than they used to. We're still getting them, but the days of showing a game 3-4 years away might be not, it's not over, but it might be like less than, what it has been in the past. Oh, let's throw out Wonder Woman, by the way. Let's just completely toss that. I mean, like, again, I guess it's possible. If anything were to be a Gamescom for WB, I'd imagine it's Quidditch Champions, right? So like Wonder Woman, I'm throwing straight out. Not that I don't want it, but same thing with Wolf Among Us. These are just games I don't expect to be there, right? So you let me know what you think. We'll probably be doing like a final predictions video for Gamescom as well in the coming days, or tomorrow, whichever day these videos are going out. But you let me know what you think. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.